Assalamu alaikum students. Good morning. I hope all of you are fine. Today we are going to start our lesson 5. I have already shared vocabulary of lesson number 5. So here is the title picture. You can see here. There are some people, a sort of cottage. So the title of the lesson is Father Damien. It is taken from the Stories of Courage by Claudie McKinnon. So, one day he arrived in leper colony. Father Damien visited every part of the miserable settlement. So, leper is a person who is suffering from a skin disease, right? Father Damien visited that very colony, that very living area where these people were living. Amongst all the terrible suffering and helpless, he found one sign of hope, a tiny chapel, neglected but complete. There he knelt to pray for strength and inspiration. So, in all these kind of suffering and all this disappointment, he was hoping for anything good. So, what that was, he went to down for the prayer, and he prayed that he want inspiration and he wants some guideline for these people who are suffering from that you can say a badly skin disease. He began at once to bring some discipline and order to the colony. So he started to bring discipline to the people who were living in that colony. He not only held services in the little chapel for those who were Catholics, bringing them the comforts of their religion, but he also started a clinic and dressed the sores of all who needed cure. Chapel is a small building which is used to worship for prayer by Christians. So he started some sacred rites and to provide some consolation, and he also opened a dispensary where he tried to facilitate people for their sores and for their you can say illness, skin disease. The leper soon saw there at last someone who had not afraid of them or disgusted by them. So the lepers were feeling good. Obviously this is a very dangerous kind of disease, and even any sensitive person cannot see all the sores and all the signs of that leprosy, but they feel good that there is a person who doesn't hate them and he give respect them and he want to help them. So before long he was able to persuade them to start doing something to help themselves and each other. So he agreed them to help one another in a better way. The first thing to do was to lay on a proper water supply which was badly needed. So first of all he arranged water supply for that people. He persuaded the government to provide pipes, and he organized the stronger lepers to lay them, working himself harder than anyone else. So the person who were suffering from leprosy, he agreed them to work on these pipes and this water system, and he also worked by himself with these people. Next, he taught them to build proper wooden cottages with timber, which he managed to persuade the government to send them. Next, he tried to arrange some better living conditions for them, some cottages that are made by wooden. Here you can see. So he he made them learn how to arrange these wooden cottages for themselves. Each cottage had a garden for food, vegetable and flowers. He also guided them to grow vegetable, flowers, fruits for themselves. Then he set up a hospital and persuaded some of more healthy lepers to help him with the dressing. So after that he managed a hospital, and some better, like the person who were facing a little less disease, he agreed them to dressing that people who were more badly suffering from the disease. Later, with the help from sympathetic people in other parts of Hawaii, he was able to start orphanage for children. So that was an island, Hawaii. He requested to the other people who were wanted to help for the welfare of the people, and he started a home for the children who were having no parents, orphanage. When the chapel was too small for all Father Damien flock, they built another larger and more beautiful one. So, with the passage of time, Father Damien realized that sacred place, that chapel was a little bit short for more people. So, he constructed a more beautiful chapel. Father Damien's success in raising the spirits of his pupil was as important as any of his work. So the Father Damien's enthusiasm, his will was so much important that he tried to work for those people. He taught them not to be afraid of dying, but to look forward to it as the end of their troubles. So he taught them, he made them realize that they don't need to be afraid of anything, any disease, any kind of illness. They have to look forward, and they have to try to overcome their troubles. He made their lives cheerful with music, color, and festivals. Obviously, he guided them for gardens, for making cottages for themselves, for arranging music, for bringing some colors, some bright colors in their lives. His churches were gaily painted and his services full of singing and ceremony. So, he decorated their sacred places, their worship places with bright colors, and he entertained them with music, with rituals. He was often accused of being rude and overbearing with outside helpers and those in authority, but with his lepers he was always gentle. So, sometimes people were having an opinion that he is rude and he is intolerable, not good in manners, but with his lepers. With his lepers, he was always gentle, always kind, always loving. So he brought a drastic change in the lives of the people who were facing a bad, dangerous disease, and he was, you can say that, like a candle in their lives.